Whenever I look at the aviation industry, it feels like watching a high-stakes poker game where the buy-in is in the billions. You have these massive legacy carriers dominating the table, and then, every once in a while, a new player sits down. It almost seems reckless.
Reckless, or perhaps just incredibly bold. It's definitely not an industry for the faint of heart. And if we are talking about bold moves, we have to talk about Air Belgium.
Exactly. That's who I wanted to dig into today. Because on paper, their story is fascinating. They aren't trying to be a budget bus in the sky, and they aren't a massive state-run giant. They are this relatively new entity, founded around 2017, started flying in 2018, trying to carve out a very specific niche. But what is that niche, really?
Well, think of it as the underserved strategy. Most airlines are fighting tooth and nail over the same popular routes: London to New York, Paris to Tokyo. Air Belgium looked at the map and realized that Belgium itself was a bit of a gap for direct, long-haul flights. They specialize in connecting Europe to places that are usually a hassle to get to directly, like specific spots in the Caribbean, Africa, or Asia.
So, instead of fighting for scraps on the main highway, they built their own side road.
Precisely. And they aren't doing it with bare-bones equipment. They launched with a focus on modern aircraft, specifically the Airbus A340S and A330S. But what's interesting is that they didn't just buy the planes. They bought into a philosophy. It's this idea that long-haul doesn't have to be an endurance test.
That's the part that catches my eye. Enjoyable and affordable is their pitch. But let's be honest, every airline says that. "We value your comfort" is usually code for "we gave you an extra inch of legroom." Is Air Belgium actually different?
It seems they are trying to leverage their cultural identity as a differentiator. You know how Belgium is famous for hospitality, food, and, obviously, beer? They've actually integrated that into the cabin experience. It's not just chicken or pasta. It's a culinary reflection of Belgium. They offer local beers, fine wines, and meals that are actually designed to taste good at 30,000 feet.
Okay, having a proper Belgian beer at cruising altitude does sound better than the usual lukewarm soda.
Right? And it cuts across classes. Whether you're in economy, with their digital amenities, or in business class, with lie-flat seats and lounge access, the service ethos remains the same. They are trying to bring back a bit of the romance of travel, where the flight is part of the vacation, not just the commute.
But here is the friction point. We are living in a time of volatile fuel prices and insane competition. You have low-cost carriers, like Norwegian Air, or at least the model they popularized, and established giants, like Brussels Airlines. Can a service-focused model actually survive financially? It feels like a beautiful concept that could easily go bankrupt.
That is the million-dollar question, or perhaps the billion-dollar question. And you're right to be skeptical. The aviation market is brutal. Air Belgium has to balance that premium human touch with operational efficiency. They are dealing with fluctuating fuel costs and dynamic travel regulations, just like everyone else. However, their financial performance has shown resilience.
Resilience is good, but how do they make money if they aren't packing people in like sardines?
Diversification. They aren't just relying on you and me buying a ticket to Guadeloupe. They have diversified revenue streams, including cargo operations and ancillary services. Plus, because they focus on those underserved markets, they don't always have to engage in a race to the bottom on price, with 5 other airlines flying the exact same route at the same hour.
That makes sense. It's a smarter way to fight. But there's another layer here we have to touch on. The elephant in the room, or the cloud in the sky, is sustainability. A new airline in the 2020s cannot ignore the environmental cost.
Absolutely not. And to their credit, Air Belgium isn't ignoring it. They've publicly committed to minimizing their environmental impact. They are looking at reducing CO2 emissions significantly by 2030.
Is that just greenwashing, though? We plan to do better, is easy to say.
It seems more concrete than that. They are investing in fleet updates to ensure fuel efficiency, which is the biggest factor right now. But they are also exploring biofuels and carbon offset programs. It's a recognize.